when all is worked out appropriately, I expect to be a bigger voice than I've ever been. And in the meantime, I still want to be a voice. I want to point out, the phoniness and the hypocrisy of some of these politicians and how government works, and it's always on the backs of the little guy and the working guy and the middle-class family.
That calls for your book. This is another example of the reason you could put together a book.
Who should most fear your writing a book?
Well, I wouldn't say there's any, look, I think the establishment. Let me give you an example. Here's a little example, and insight I'd like to share how the system works. And they give these speeches, and they act like they're so moral. There's a prominent legislative leader, okay, who was going to work with us on a couple of issues, but he has this is very common. Then he has a little laundry list of stuff he wants, and among these things, this is how the system in Springfield works, where a bunch of these lawmakers go down to Springfield. Nobody even knows who they are. They're away from their families. It's a whole different world down there. A bunch of them are cheating on their spouses. A lot of them drink in excess. Very few of them know what's going on. They just take their marching orders from legislative leaders. And then the legislative leaders have to do things for them so that they can keep them happy. So the House Democrats, for example, virtually every one of them is getting extra pay because Madigan has given them all chairmanship and subcommittee chairmanships, virtually every one of them. Have extra stipends that they get. That's how he buys them off to do his bidding and basically be blind and just follow the leader. Another legislative leader came to us because one of his members was sleeping with his secretary. And then the wife found out, and she wanted that secretary fired. But this guy was in love with the secretary, so he goes to the legislative leader. They come to us. They want us to hire this woman so that we can keep that guy happy and, then hope that they might work with us on some issues. Those kinds of insights on how government works. And it's not just state government. I saw that as a congressman in Washington, that sort of stuff. And it's, part of a human dynamic, and I don't want to be too judgmental. But these same guys get up and they get holier-than-thou on their soapboxes, and yet there they are doing that sort of thing, promoting that kind of thing. And, people are human and they make mistakes, but cheating on your wife and sleeping with your secretary, that's the wrong thing to do.
Wow.
I think you've got a book, and you
I've
definitely.
got my crayons ready. I'm ready to write it.
Man, you.
I think you need to work on.
I'd like to tell those stories.
This book idea, because you have a lot to tell.
It's interesting. We're speaking with former Governor Rod Blagojevich. If you're not familiar with his voice, you certainly have read about him.
You must have lived under a rock.
Everybody knows who Rod Blagojevich is around the world now, and I'm reading.